Welcome to the Sisters of the Shire podcast.
Woo!
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Abby. And we're glad you're joining us today.
And we are having to do a little bit of a doubleheader for us. So because of that, I was thinking it should still be pretty fresh in your brain. So I think that you should do the recap today.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you should tell it. And I was like, but I don't know it. But wait.
Just fill in the gaps. What happens next? Go. Even though I'm asking questions on the Instagram post, and I feel like no one's paying attention and answering my questions because I was posting this picture of Ungoliant with the Morgoth and the Silmarils, and I want to know. So the Balrogs don't save Morgoth. Ungoliant eats the Silmarils, and let's just add Morgoth just for fun.
Okay.
What happens next?
I feel like it would be like a red dwarf situation. Like the sun explodes. Like she just gets too big and then everything goes with her.
Yeah.
Like can't take that much power.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Or she devours.
The fact of an enormous spider exploding is a little terrifying, but.
Or she explodes. No, she eats everything. That's like she, and that's the end of the earth. Is that she eats everything into the void. It becomes a void. That's my theory.
Bit of a downer. The end.
Everything is bad now. Or Iluvatar, is that how you say it? Iluvatar?
Yeah.
The main guy. It's bad enough that he comes down.
Ooh.
And then he's like,
don't make me come down there.
Yeah, he's like, no. That's my other theory.
Okay. I like it.
That would be pretty cool.
I would love to hear other people's opinions as well. I mean, maybe she doesn't eat Morgoth. Does he create, what would be the perfect, I think the word is antithesis to fight Ungoliant hyped up on Silmarils. So the ultimate light that she can't eat.
So how would they defeat her? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sorry. In a roundabout way, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe it's like Legolas when he's defeating the Oliphant and he runs up it and then he's like this tiny little thing and then he slashes her stomach so the Silmarils come out.
Ooh, I like it.
And blinds her. What's that other what's the other movie where they blind?
Well, Sam pokes her in the eye.
Yeah, but there's another
Shelob in the eye.
Yeah, there's another the basilisk where they rip out his eyes so he can't see anything. Like that.
Yeah.
But I just want to see a giant spider and then a tiny little thing that's ee! Trying to run up her
Oh my gosh, I just envisioned. Okay, so because you said basilisk and the person or the creature that poked out the basilisk's hard word eyes was Fox, the phoenix.
The eagles come and do that.
The eagles come and do that? Or my first thought was, let's stick Arian on Ungoliant and see what happens.
Would she want to try to eat her because she's also light?
Maybe. But then I'm seeing her using the sun as a what's that called? A mace? The thing with the ball at the end that's all spiky. But you swing it.
Yeah.
But it's fire.
Amazing.
I would love to see that fan art, please.
Come
on, universe.
she like eats Morgoth, right? She eats
Right.
him. But it's like Drax in the second Guardians of the Galaxy where he's like inside her and he's like, ah, he's like
The
trying to
skin's
like
thinner from the inside than from the outside.
yeah. He's like, I'll go get those Silmarils. Ah!
I feel like
That's
that's something Feanor would do.
yes. Well,
Okay.
she ate them. I
R.I.P.
guess I gotta
Feanor.
go in there and get them.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I love my brain and I love our brains working together.
We are an unstoppable force.
uh, okay. So, speaking of Feanor, let's see if
He
you can do it.
died.
He died. R.I.P.
He died doing what he loved,
Making a
fighting for
fool of
no reason.
himself.
Fighting for no reason. Well, technically, he did have a reason because, I mean, the orcs and the Balrogs weren't great to have there, and he kind of was like, yeah, we should get rid of these.
Yeah.
But he should have, like, regrouped a little bit and had, like, a stronger army of just, instead of just himself, I'm feeling. Did he have anybody
What?
fighting with him? Did he have
So
anybody
it
fighting
says
with him, or was it just his
so
sons or whatever?
it says that he like so yeah, he did have like his sons and like a small army. But he does outrun them and gets ahead of at least his sons. So that when the Balrogs surround him, it says that like Fëanor and a few friends. So for
His
some reason
true
I'm
homies.
imagining like three people, like Fëanor and like two other
Yeah, yeah.
guys. His oh what are they called?
A
His
Balrog for
squire
each.
his squire and his Kingsguard.
Mm,
Yeah.
his personal assistant.
Yeah. His hair and makeup, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was fighting Balrogs because he was all hopped up on burning ships and leaving and all his
For
epic
some reason, ships did not end in a P when used friendly.
ships. He also burnt those, though.
Sorry.
Um, he was all hopped up on betraying his brethren and his sisterin and
Mhm.
finally getting to the land that he wanted to get to, but weren't they didn't have a very long time before everything went bad, and I feel like they
And
got
this was
there, burnt the
supposed to be the
ships.
nice place.
Yeah, I feel like they got there, burnt the ships, turned around, and was like, ah, dang.
Now
There's
what?
yeah, there's like orcs and stuff over here. Um,
Yes.
so he got unalived by Balrogs, and
He got
he
got.
yeah he got. Um, and he turned into ash for some reason
Mhm.
because he was that epic. He
Mhm.
was like, I don't know, just turned his body. I guess, like, in my brain, I think that's like a fitting end to like him because he was being told that, or he was the legends or whatever were like he was had a fire within him, whatever,
Mhm.
and then he turned into ash, which I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But also, I feel like he was so epic that I think seeing his body all broken and bruised and stuff, and having like a funeral or like burying him felt very mortal, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they're like, no, he doesn't get that. He gets to do this. Whoa, float away in the wind. Um, and then one of Feanor's sons,
Mhm.
who was feeling really, I personally think he was feeling really guilty about
Mhm.
leaving his family and friends behind and not giving them any way to come over with them. Um,
Madros. Madros the Tall.
do you think he's a little upset that he only got that just cool descriptor for him? He
I
didn't get
know
like,
some of these Fingon the Valiant. I
yeah,
mean,
like it's like something about their character or who they are as a person. that guy's just pretty tall, I guess.
I mean,
I guess
even
he's
I
like
mean,
taller than the rest of us, so I guess that's pretty cool.
uh, there's even another brother we're gonna meet today. That I think I'm trying to remember. He's either known as the Dark or the Crafty. like,
Oh,
even like he sounds kind of like the villain. Like he still gets a cool name, and he's a bad guy. like,
I know. So the tall one
and also,
who,
how tall do you have to be as an elf to be known as the Tall? Like,
dang, because elves are pretty tall to begin with, so
right? Yeah.
um
So sorry,
he's feeling
Madras
really
the Tall does
guilty,
this. Mm-hmm.
and then who captures him?
Morgoth does. So Morgoth makes like this false like, oh, I totally am going to surrender because you guys kind of, I guess you won a little bit. So I you win. I can't fight that apparently, even though I got Balrogs. I surrender. And you know what? I'll even throw in a Silmaril in the mix, as a token of
Wink.
my good faith.
Yeah, I surrender. Wink.
Yeah.
Um,
Crossies.
yeah, yeah. So that guy doesn't believe him. Like no one believes him
Right.
because, duh. Um, give the elves a little credit, right? Come on. Um, and then he gets captured and like tortured. I think. I'm
Yeah, I
personally
mean
thinking he gets tortured.
it yeah, it doesn't like say, they were putting bamboo shoots under his fingernails, but I'm sure he was tortured.
Um, and he was chained by his wrist to a rock face, which I think is he just hanging there? Because that would be so
Mhm.
like, and it's like up on a mountain rock face,
Mhm.
and his friend, who he was really sad to have left on the other side of the ocean, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, are they related? Are they like cousins or are they like just friends?
They're cousins
Okay.
because Fingon is Fingolfin's son, and
Mhm.
Fingolfin and Fëanor were half brothers.
Mhm, mhm.
So they're
So
cousins.
his cousin was also sad about not like what is it? Their relationship kind of being torn apart because of Feanor's like bad decisions of leaving everybody
Mhm.
behind. And he was sad too. He's like, I miss my best friend. And then so he went to go search for him and then he found him up on the rock and he's like he's all sad and he's all dying and um
You
he
can't
just
reach
said,
him. He's too
yeah, he
high
can't
up.
reach him. He's too high and he says, just kill me. Oh, it, you can't help me. And so he said, to heck with that. And then he flew on, called out to Manways
Monway, yeah.
um, to help him out, and then the eagles came, or one eagle. I don't know if more than one came, but
The freaking
um,
ginormous eagle.
hmm and he like flew up there, and he's like, "I can't get your arm out," and then he just chops it off. I don't even think he asked him personally. I think he just did it,
I have an
and
idea.
then
Look over
yeah,
there.
and then they flew off into the sunset with one less hand.
Although,
Um,
I was thinking about it just as we were talking, and I do have a bit of a medical background. And honestly, I was thinking if depending on the tightness of the bond, like if he was hanging from a chain or like if he was like I don't know. But the blood loss, like the circulation loss to the hand, probably wouldn't have been great anyway. So chopping the hand off actually like might have been better than actually like unlocking the handcuff kind of a
Was it
thing.
like 127 hours situation
Yes. Yes.
where his hand was stuck and it was dying anyway, so they were like, "Okay,
Yes.
we're just
Yes,
tapping
that's what I'm
off."
saying. Yep. Although I don't think
So,
he sterilized that dagger or that knife before he cut it off. I do have some concerns about that, but,
I never really thought about like an
germs.
elf. No, no, no. An elf with like a disability of some sort. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
that's
they're all
true.
so perfect all the time, and
Mhm.
then you don't think, "Oh, there's one that doesn't have a hand and he's like disabled in that way now."
Yeah, that's a very valid point. Um, I'm gonna say I'm not gonna name names or anything, but there's gonna be a, one-hand club by the end of this book.
Oh, and then he
Yeah,
also said that because he had to chop off his hand, he became even more skilled with the sword with his other hand, which I think is pretty cool. He's like,
right?
"This ain't gonna bring me down. I'm gonna be even better now."
Mhm.
So, yeah. Is that where we
Yeah,
left off last time?
that's yeah, pretty much it. The only thing I'll add is that, the, moon and the sun are now up in all the timelines now.
Yes.
Our timelines, I think, are met. Um,
Mhm.
and let's see. Yeah, I think you got pretty much all of it. Nicely done.
Yay.
Okay, so we're picking up right off where we last left Madros. He's back from his horrible ordeal. He's healing up, and
Does he know
they're
his dad
starting.
died?
Yeah, I'm assuming
Okay.
they don't. But what's funny, like they don't mention Fingolfin's reaction to the dad dying, which I think would have been a really cool scene.
Uh-huh.
Um, Not cool. That's not the right word, but you know what I mean.
Emotional.
And yeah, and same with Madros. Like I think like that could have been an interesting. I wonder what their reactions were.
Uh-huh.
Like a bittersweet, like, well, he was too much for this world anyway.
Yes.
And I feel like Madros might have been a little bit like, well, he had to pay for this his sins, or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, but anyways, so they're kind of settling back into things. They just fought this battle. They're coming back, and Fingolfin's company's there, and Feanor's company's there, and they're kind of divided. They remember when they, I guess it's not Feanor's company anymore. Feanor's son's company. Red versus blue. I love that show. Uh, so they were on camping on opposite sides of the lake. They kind of were separated. But now that Fingon captured Madros, things are kind of healing together. So Madros himself goes up to Fingolfin and begs for his forgiveness for his part in abandoning him and Aemon. And he even gave up his right to the crown of the Noldor, which technically, being Fëanor's eldest, Maedhros could have been the king of the Noldor. And that was
Ah.
already kind of a weird, awkward kind of thing because Fingolfin was king for a while. Then Fëanor just said, "Oh, by the way, I'm the king," and he's like, Wait a minute, I was already king." Like there was a bit of a
Get in line, sir.
yeah. He even told Fingolfin, quote, "If there lay no grievance between us, lord, still the kingship would rightly come to you, the eldest here of the house of Finwë, and not the least wise." So he's saying, you are the eldest son of the last king, the last uncontested king, I guess. And I guess you're pretty smart. So I really think the crown should go to you.
I guess you're not dumb.
I
Okay.
guess. So now that the Noldor are united, they kind of get things banded together. They set a watch over their little area. They kind of keep spies out near Angband to keep an eye on Morgoth. And they also send messengers all over Beleriand to kind of scout out the land and to befriend the people already dwelling there. One of those
Mm.
people being King Thingol, who we met
Oh, in
a
his
while
cool
ago,
house.
and his cool house. And I totally imagine they all have gift baskets. They have to have gift baskets. Hi, we're new in
Yay!
town.
Yeah.
We just lived
We're your
there.
new neighbors.
And surprisingly, I was kind of surprised by this reaction from King Thingol, but I kind of get it too. He was actually not very thrilled with the idea of so many quote unquote princes coming in might from the west.
Mm.
Like, yeah, I kind of get it. He felt that they would be eager for new realms, and he didn't really want to share his new cool kingdom. He was there for the longest. He was there first. He's
He
already
worked
got this
really
nice
hard on
suite
his
set up.
house.
Yeah. So he didn't open his kingdom to the Noldor, and he definitely didn't remove the girdle of Melian. He
Mm.
says Melian kept him wise and wary of Morgoth at all times, and they kind of knew he wouldn't be quiet for long. Like, we're seeing a pattern here. Like, he doesn't just like give up, so we're just gonna keep things the way they are. We're gonna keep our all of our guards up.
Yeah.
However, in a little bit of confusion of family history, Finarfin's children were actually allowed to come to Doriath. Remember, Finarfin was the third son of Finwë.
Yeah.
There was Fëanor, Fingolfin, and Finarfin. And Finarfin was the only one to turn back after the kinslaying at
He felt bad.
Alqualondë. He felt bad. He went back. He apologized to the Valar. So he's still in Aemon in the Noldor city, Tirion. He's kind of the king of the Noldor over there.
Okay.
Um, but his children, who are Galadriel, Finrod, some of those people we've kind of already met in the show, um, they were there and they were allowed to come in because they were actually related to King Thingol.
Mm.
So I haven't always named, this person married this person and this is all of their children, just to kind of keep the amount of characters as minimal as possible. But
Yes.
now I'm kind of going to lay out a family tree here for a second. So Finarfin's wife was actually one of the Teleri. So remember, Finarfin is technically one of the Noldor. His mom was technically one of the Vanyar. So he is half Noldor, half Vanyar. Then he marries a Teleri. So technically, Finrod and Galadriel are a mix of all three.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like she's kind of like she can be like Galadriel can be like not a what's the word? Not
She
a
can rule over
governor, but
all
like a
because,
yeah, like she's like, okay, I'm part of everything. If that makes
yeah,
sense?
yeah.
Like she could be governor, mayor.
So Finarfin married Earwyn, not Arwen, Earwyn,
Okay.
or maybe we'll call her
Erwin.
Earwyn. Earwyn.
Oh,
It's literally
fancy.
Earwen. Sorry, I'm just
Ear,
gonna say Earwyn. Yeah, it's
Yarwin,
Earwyn.
Yarwin. You gotta roll the R.
Earwyn. Yeah, Earwyn. Earwyn's trying to make sense of this. Eowyn is King Thingol's niece. Therefore, Eowyn and Finarfin's children would be grandnieces, nephews of King Thingol. So
Hmm.
Galadriel's grand uncle is King Thingol.
Oh. Her
That makes
grunkle, if you will.
her grunkle, yes. So sorry that was so confusing because I'm gonna get more confusing here in a minute. But anyways, because they're related, oh, my grandniece and my grandnephews, you guys are allowed in, I guess. Um, which makes the kinslaying just a little bit more awkward in hindsight. It makes more sense now that Finarfin actually felt like the worst because it was actually his wife's people that they killed.
Ooh, Thanksgiving's gonna be really awkward.
Yeah. So The first of they call them the exiles. The Noldor are known as the exiles. The first of the
Proper fitting.
exiles, yeah, to come to Menegroth, King Thingol's land, palace, was one of the sons of Finarfin, and his name was Ingrod. So
Okay.
Eowyn, Finarfin have 5 kids: Finrod, Orodreth, Angrod, Aegnor, and Galadriel. So we're dealing with Angrod today.
Okay.
He had a long talk with King Thingol. He tells him everything that has happened to the Noldor since they've been to Middle Earth. Quote, but being true and wise-hearted, and thinking all griefs now forgiven, he spoke no word concerning the kinslaying, nor of the manner of the exile of the Noldor and the oath of Fëanor.
Hmm.
So he kind of kept that close to the chest. Definitely sounds like a son of Finarfin. I feel like Fëanor would have been all about that hot gossip. Like, get this, y'all.
Spill that
This
tea.
crazy guy.
Spill that piping hot tea.
But I feel like Finarfin, because he was kind of the forgotten child, we'll call him that. He
Oh
isn't talked about
no.
a ton. Well, I mean, he's the last kid. I kind of feel that. You just kind of watch things from the background. So he plays things more diplomatic. He plays things closer to the chest, and I feel like
Mhm.
Ingrod kind of has that too. So now that Ingrod has told King Thingol all about the Noldor, King Thingol says, "Okay, now that I kind of know what's going on, let me send you back with a message."
Back to the
And
Noldor.
yeah, back to the Noldor with a message. And he basically tells the Noldor that he will allow them to live by Lake Mithrim, where they currently are, and basically anywhere else that is not Doriath, which is like his county, we'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, they are many of my people, and I would not have them restrained of their freedom, still less ousted from their homes. Beware, therefore, how you princes of the West bear yourselves, for I am the Lord of Beleriand, and all who seek to dwell there shall hear my word. Into Doriath none shall come to abide, but only such as I call as guests, or who seek me in great need.
So he's like, I'm the king here, man. Like, I did all this work. I didn't ruin any relationships with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I I stayed a good guy. I don't want you coming all coming up in here thinking that you can just
I don't
take it
want your
over.
drama.
Yeah, thinking you can just take it over because you're just some trust fund baby.
Yeah, yeah. And it does
Like,
sound kind of harsh, but it's actually pretty reasonable. He's basically saying, like, I was here first. This is my spot over here. You can live anywhere
mm-hmm,
else, but you can't come to my spot unless I say you can. Or I guess if you really need me.
mm-hmm. But know that it is I giving you charity, not
Right.
you being able to take it over.
Yeah. Which kind of
Yeah,
valid.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So the Noldor, upon hearing this message, thought it was pretty cold, not very welcoming. And of course, the most quick to anger and offense were the sons of Fëanor.
Mm.
However,
I feel like they get offended about everything.
yeah. However, the eldest brother, Maedhros, the one who seems to have somewhat of a head on his shoulders, actually laughed after he heard the message. Quote,
Ooh,
no, 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 a good
okay,
laugh.
okay,
Quote, not a laugh, not a maniacal laugh.
okay.
Quote, a king is he that can hold his own, or else his title is vain. Thingol does but grant us lands where his power does not run. Indeed, Doriath alone would be his realm this day, but for the coming of the Noldor. Therefore, in Doriath let him reign, and be glad that he has the sons of Finwë for his neighbors, not the orcs of Morgoth that we found. Elsewhere it shall go as seems good to us.
So he's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Like,
He's like,
obviously,
hey,
he's a king here. Like,
mhm.
obviously, he has to show his power. He's only granting us, like, the lands that he doesn't own. And, what a
He's
nice
being
thing that he has
respectful.
such good neighbors as us.
Yeah.
Way better than
He
those
welcomed
orcs. They
he
don't even have sugar if you need it.
the HOA here is a little steep, but you know what? It's okay.
Yeah.
We can do this. I think him doing that, saying that makes him like the most um what is the word? Like level-headed real one, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Like that's how a normal person should react to the person who's like, "Yeah, this is my house. Like you guys just can't overrun my house." Like
Yeah.
and then for him to be like, "Yeah, that makes sense." It's like, "Okay,
Yeah.
finally. You're not going to be like, I'm going to murder you then. Give me your house." So,
uh, so that was actually my question. Like, are we sure Maedros is Feanor's son? Like,
yeah.
he
Maybe
might
he's
be
his mom.
adopted.
Maybe he's more his mom.
Yeah. So while we're not quite sure of the heritage of Maedros, we are 100% sure that Caranthier is the son of Feanor because he was not happy about this. Caranthier
Mhm.
did not like the sons of Finarfin and, quote, was the harshest of the brothers and the most quick to anger. So he's going to be fun. He said, quote, let not the sons of the Finarfin run hither and thither with their tails to this dark elf in his caves. Who made them
Mm.
our spokesmen to deal with him? And though they become indeed to Beleriand, let them not so swiftly forget that their father is a lord of the Noldor, though their mother be of other kin.
You
Yeah.
take that back right now. You take that back.
And I'm sorry to read it that way, but I kind of felt like I had to.
It's very Mean Girls. Like,
Right?
yeah.
You can't sit with us. So, yeah, definitely Feanor's son there. And Angrod, the son of Finarfin who brought the message, was actually kind of offended by that response, surprisingly, and left the meeting. And Maedros is like, Caranthier, that was not very nice.
It's
Uh,
like, come on, man. We just
but
got here.
we just mended things.
Come on. I just had my arm chopped off.
So Maedros scolds him for his words, but all the other Noldor were more scared by Caranthor's outburst. Create quote, fearing the fell spirit of the sons of Fëanor that it seemed would ever be like to burst forth in rash word or violence. So basically, they're like, "Oh crap! What are the sons of Fëanor gonna do next?" Like they're like ticking
They
time
don't have a
bombs. Like
they don't have a great track record so far.
yeah. So Maedros managed to calm Caranthier down, gathered up his other brothers and their entire company, and they headed east to a new place. And I was very confused by this at first because I feel like Tolkien could have named this much better. And this new place would be known as the March of Maedros.
Hmm.
Do you
The place
understand
is
how that is
called that?
confusing? Thank you. I was like, wait, the March? Wait, what? Like,
I feel like the event which should be called that. The like pilgrimage
right?
or like the voyage of that happening.
Right? Like that's a verb. It
Okay.
was yeah. Could have been the meadows of Madros. It could have been the mountains of no. The
The main
manor of Madros. The
yeah.
mansion of Madros. So this was Madros's plan to try and limit the chances for conflict between them and Fingolfin's company. So he tried to just keep everyone separated. He, however, still considered them friends and would still come to them for advice or help if he needed it. Basically, he was putting his brothers in a timeout.
Maybe he's the
But
oldest.
he is the oldest, believe it or not.
Oh.
So now Caranthier apparently had his own people within the Sons of Fëanor.
Okay,
And
wait, hold on. In my brain, he's like Merida, and then his brothers are like the three triplets, and he's always
yes.
like, "Come on, guys,
Hmm.
stop it!
Yeah.
You're being crazy."
Yeah. But then he uses their craziness when he needs it. But I
Yes.
feel like that is a very apt, and they're both redheaded. I love it. Okay. So Caranthier has his own kind of people within the Sons of Fëanor. They all kind of have their own little tribes. And they lived the farthest east from everyone else. So far east that they were actually getting close to the mountains. And this led to their first encounter with the dwarves. Now, yeah, the dwarves had actually been laying pretty low for a while. Morgoth's orcs had
Literally
been roaming
under a
Beleriand.
mountain.
Feel like Legolas would have gotten that. Or yeah. Since Morgoth's orcs had been roaming Beleriand, and then the Noldor coming to Beleriand, like they just were like, we're just gonna stay out of there for a little while until things calm down.
Yeah.
However, the first elf for them to meet may not have been the best idea to be a Caranthier. This is the
Yeah.
best example of our people. He's the worst. Quote, but though either people loved skill and were eager to learn, no great love was there between them. For the dwarves were secret and quick to resentment, and Caranthier was haughty and scarce concealed his scorn for the unloveliness of the Nogrim. Remember, that's the elf word for dwarf. And his
The
people followed,
unloveliness.
I know, and his
Rude.
people followed their lord. Nevertheless, since both people feared and hated Morgoth, they made alliance and had of it great profit.
We both hate the same guy, so I guess we could be friends.
Yeah.
Acquaintances,
Yeah.
probably.
So Caranthir's people taught the dwarves all their Noldor smithcraft that they had most likely learned from Aule in Valinor,
Hmm.
which I'm sure they were like, from the master himself. Like
Yeah.
they're like fangirling, like, can I touch your hand?
They took a master class, get it?
Yeah. So after this, the dwarves decided it was safe to start going back and forth to Beleriand for trade. And because of this alliance with Caranthier, their place was the dwarves' first stop for trade, which made Caranthier and his people quite prosperous.
Mm.
So 20 years passes, and this is basically 20 years of the sun, 20 years since their arrival to Middle Earth, basically. And Fingolfin, the king of the Noldor, decided to have a great feast.
Of course.
Of course, they love their feasts. And it would later be called the Feast of Reuniting because everyone was invited. The companies of
Aw.
Fingolfin and Finarfin's children and Fëanor's sons, also some of the cool Sindar that they had met, some of the Falas, including Círdan, showed up, and some
Mm.
of the Green Elves. Remember, the Green Elves were formerly the Nandor
They live in the
back in
forest.
that lived in the forest. Good job. So they have all these like kind of spread out people, and they're all gonna have a party.
Aw.
They even invited
Elfcon.
this elf. They even invited the Sindar and Doriath as well. But only two messengers came from there with greetings from the king.
Mm.
So, despite this possible insult from King Thingol, the rest of the elves had a great time. Quote, the hearts of the Noldor were high and full of hope, and to many among them it seemed that the words of Fëanor had been justified, bidding them seek freedom in fair kingdoms in Middle-earth.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
somehow, like, enough time has passed that they're able to look on the bright side of Feanor's actions. Um, because here they have their freedom. Like, I guess that Feanor guy was right. This is pretty nice here.
Yeah.
I guess it was worth all that bloodshed and all those betrayals, but whatever. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Quote,
We got a good
there,
party now.
yeah. Quote, there followed after long years of peace, while their swords fenced Beleriand from the ruin of Morgoth, and his power was shut behind his gates. In those days there was joy beneath the new sun and moon, and all the land was glad. But still, the shadow brooded in the north.
I was gonna say, like,
This is
what is
usually
he
when
doing
things
this
go
whole
bad,
time?
right?
Yeah. What is he doing this whole time? Like, he's like, oh, we'll let them have their party. I'm not that big of a jerk.
Oh, just you wait.
Maybe
He's
he's really mad
busy.
because he didn't get invited.
Maleficent.
Yeah.
uh, they even look kind of the
Oh,
same.
yeah, maybe
Oh
he's
my gosh,
sad. He's
I
like,
want that
"Sister."
fan art of them being together.
Yeah. He's like, you didn't get invited either? Yeah, me neither. Oh,
Maybe we should like kill people to do like in our anger. Show
yeah.
them. Oh my gosh, and
Uh,
it oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna make a connection later, but okay. So
okay.
I'm really excited now. Another 30 years pass now, and one of Fingolfin's sons, his name is Turgon, decides he wants to go on a little adventure with his buddy Finrod, one of Finarfin's sons. Remember, Finrod's our hero, Finrod's our man, Finrod the
Okay.
Valiant.
Is
So,
Finrod Galadriel's brother?
yes.
Okay.
So, oh no, hold on. Fingon's our man. Sorry, I knew I would get those guys mixed up. Finrod and Fingon. They're too close together. Finrod is Galadriel's brother. You are correct. Fingon is the guy who saved Maedhros. My bad.
Hmm.
We still like Finrod, though.
He's pretty good.
So, he's pretty good. So, Turgon and Finrod journey south for a while, and they decide to make camp by a river. And as they are sleeping, I don't know why this comes to me as like kind of funny. It's almost like Santa, like when the children are sleeping. He comes up, Olmo comes up out of the river and puts them in an even deeper sleep and gives them, quote, heavy dreams.
Huh. Just for fun, or is there a reason?
Well, remember Olmo, he's a subtle guy. He likes to help, but he isn't going to spell it out for them. He's a teach a man to fish kind of guy.
I didn't know
But
he could control dreams and stuff.
that was my question. I thought dreams were Lorien's job, but maybe he like borrowed some like
Maybe
sand,
he also knows
sleeping
how to do
sand.
it.
Yeah.
Maybe he also knows how to do it. He just doesn't do it all the time like Lorian does.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if you've ever seen Once Upon a Time to like its end, but I always imagine like Lorien to actually like have the sands of um there's a Greek god or a Roman god that is like the sleep, the sands of Morpheus or something, I think it's called.
Oh.
But anyways, so maybe he just borrowed some of that. So when Turgon and it doesn't say what these dreams are exactly, but when Turgon and Finrod wake up in the morning, they remember that their dreams, and it just bothers them for the rest of the day. And I think we both had dreams like that, where just like, my day just is like it just like haunts your whole day.
Hmm. It's like
Usually,
Phoebe in
Phoebe,
Friends
yes.
when she's mad at Ross
How
for the whole day.
could
And
you?
he's like, what? It's like, what did he do? He like
I
was
don't
mean to
remember
her or
what he
something,
did.
or like cheated
Yeah.
on her, and then he's like, and then you took off your scuba mask. This might have been a dream.
Yeah. Uh, so it bothers them for the rest of the day. They're pretty quiet. They're not really talking to each other, but they don't tell each other about their dreams because they think they were the only ones to have had one.
Mm.
But this dream that Olmo gave them, it kind of acted as a warning of trouble to come. And because of this, they start looking for, quote, places of hidden strength to make their new home.
So it was kind of like a foreboding, like, hey,
Yes.
you should like make sure your guys are safe. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Quote, for it seemed to each that he was bidden to prepare for a day of evil and to establish a retreat, lest Morgoth should burst from Angband and overthrow the armies of the north. The armies of the north being the Noldor and their north encampment.
Mm,
Again, almost seems to be the only one looking out for the elves in Middle Earth at this time. Like they're just
he's a good guy. He's
he's
just a
a
good
good
guy.
guy. I just want to give him a hug. So time passes, and Finrod and his sister Galadriel are guests at King Thingol's kingdom of Menegroth. Remember, they're the only ones of the Noldor allowed there because they are related.
Mm-hmm.
And, Finrod's looking around and he's like, this place is really cool. I like that it's kind of got a hidden fortress feel to it. It's kind of in a cave and it's really well fortified and, but it's still beautiful. It'd be really nice to have a place of my own like this. So,
Oh my gosh, he's like a toddler. Have you ever had that when they're like you're eating like ice cream or like
I
something
like
like
ice
this and
cream.
like they're like, "Oh my
I
gosh, did
like
you
ice
know
cream.
that I like ice cream too?" It's like,
So,
"Oh, that's
not
pretty
exactly like
cool."
that, but I love that.
It makes me
So
laugh
he
when
tells,
kids do that. It's
oh,
so
Lizzie
fun.
is so good at that. So he tells Thingol about, I would really like a place of my own like this. And so Thingol actually shows him a nearby cave next to a river called, I'm, I want to say it in my awful American accent, Narog.
Mississippi. What?
It just sounds so like not pretty in my American accent. Narog.
Mer mer Merog?
Nerog. Nerog.
Mm,
Nerog.
nice.
Yes. Um, so this river, and it's going to be, so there's a cave next to a river, which is kind of the similar setup that Menegroth has. And, he's like, you could build your kingdom here. So with the help of dwarfs again, Finrod begins to make his own version of Menegroth.
So
And
Finrod gets his own kingdom?
yes,
Oh.
he's a prince, kind of,
Mm, kind of.
but he calls his kingdom Nargothrond. Nargothrond. I'm really trying hard to make it not Nargothrond.
That they're
Down there in
Nargothrond.
Nargothrond, which basically translates to underground fortress on the River Narog.
Very literal.
Yes, I'm like, babe, that's all the best. Okay, that's all right. So Finrod actually manages to pay the dwarves pretty well for their work because unlike most of the other Noldor, he had actually brought along some of his treasure from way back in Valinor.
Mm-hmm.
So he is able to pay them pretty well. And at this time, the dwarves give Finrod a gift for all of his special jewels. And they make him a very special necklace, and it's called the Nauglamir.
Nauglamir?
Yes,
Okay.
or the necklace of the dwarves. Because remember,
Cool.
Nagrim is the other word
It's
for
just a
dwarves.
big chain that says dwarves rule on it, or like dwarves are the best,
Team
or
dwarves.
dwarves forever.
It was made of gold and set with gems uncounted from Valinor.
Wow.
Yeah, but
What if it was
as
just a
you
big blingy,
right,
like I
yeah,
said,
no,
Finrod
but
on
that's
it?
what you imagine, and like I
No,
keep
like it
thinking
just
about
says
that,
Finrod and diamonds. Like really big.
like bedazzled.
Finrod hearts dwarves.
Um, but I just this scene, it makes me think of, do you remember the movie Prince and Me? The Prince and Me with Kirsten, no,
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes.
that
I
one
don't
girl
remember
that
it
makes, that looks like my
well, but
sister-in-law.
mhm.
But anyways, she's like trying on like the royal jewels, and she's like trying on this like really pretty earrings, and um the queen's like, yeah, those are really pretty, but your ears will be killing you by the end of the evening. Like,
Yes.
and I think we've all been there, ladies, where we're like, I made a horrible decision on these earrings. Like,
Yes. Ugh.
so, but the dwarves thought of this. They thought of the earring dilemma because, maybe they had that problem too. Because,
Yes.
quote, it had a power within it so that it rested lightly on its wearer as a strand of flax, and whatsoever neck it clasped, it always sat with grace and loveliness.
It, like, hovered?
I
Like,
guess.
whoa.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How did
So,
they do
pretty
that?
magic necklace. And it's not going to come up for a little while, but just kind of keep it in mind for down the road.
Alright.
So, Finrod sets up his new home, Nargothrond,
With his pretty
and
new
his people,
necklace.
with his pretty necklace. His people follow him. And after this, the dwarves give him a new nickname. Because everyone gets rebranded in this book, right?
Yeah!
Yeah, these names aren't confusing enough. They call him Felagund.
Felagund.
Yes. And
Okay.
it translates to hewer of caves.
What? It translates to what of caves?
Hewer, like builder, like
Hewer of
hewer,
caves.
hewer, like I don't know what another simile or similar synonym of cave or hewer. Sorry, I'm tired.
Developer of caves.
There you go. So this will henceforth be his new rebranded name, but for the sake of hopefully less confusion, I'm just going to call him by both names. So I will
Okay.
call him Finrod Felagund, just to kind of,
It sounds like a first and last name when you say it like that.
right, exactly.
Finrod
So
Gilligan.
so I like that idea, and it maybe will help me get the Finrod and Fingon confusion out of my head too. So he's all set up. He's got his new name, his new house, his new setup. So we're
What
going
if
to go
his
back
necklace said
to
his new name? That would be funny.
We Brand You.
But it's like huge. Like
Yeah.
think like hip hop rapper huge.
Oh,
Like
yeah. So now we're going to go back to Galadriel, his sister. She wasn't actually among Finrod Felagund's new household because she was still back in Menegroth, Doriath, with King Eluthingal, because she met a man
a man.
or an elf,
A a man elf.
a man elf,
A
and
real pretty
his
one probably.
a real party one, and his name is Celeborn.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
quote. And there was great love between them. Therefore, she remained in the hidden kingdom, which is Doriath, and abode with Melian, and of her learned great lore and wisdom concerning Middle Earth.
Oh, so she had like a pretty cool teacher being a
Right,
isn't she
Maiar.
a Maiar? Yeah.
Yeah. Who's Celeborn's dad? Where did this guy come from? So,
Okay.
according to the family trees that I found, they are actually Celeborn and Galadriel are second cousins, which is still
Oh.
okay, but it's getting a little close.
Yeah.
uh,
Maybe,
s-
back then that happened a lot.
yeah. So they share a grand uncle,
A grunkle, if you will.
a grunkle. Um, there was another brother that isn't really talked about a ton. There was Finwë, Olwë, and Elwë, and Elwë got rebranded to Thingol. But there was another brother that, for some reason, they don't talk about him, and he has an unfortunate name. Are you ready for this name?
Chad.
Nope.
Wait. Uh
Tickle me.
Seymour. What is it?
Tickle me. Finish sentence.
Oh no.
Uh-huh. His name is Elmo.
Hey, he came first before the puppet. Okay.
I know, but it's still cringy. No wonder he doesn't get a storyline. He was very hushed.
Yeah.
We don't talk about him.
I mean,
We
there's
don't
an
talk about
Olmo.
Elmo. No, no, no.
Okay.
So
Elmo.
Celeborn's grandpa is Elmo. So they share a grunkle of Olwe.
Okay.
So, in case you really wanted to know
But they
the
didn't
whole
grow up
thing,
together.
no, because she was in Valinor. I don't know.
Okay.
I should have maybe done a bit more research of where Elmo ended up, but I think he stayed in Middle Earth.
Okay.
Now I need to confirm this just because I don't want to get yelled at. And I have to also find out why Elmo, why. Why? We should have one of those like things about the Silmarillion you never would have guessed. There's a guy named Elmo.
There's a hill named Tuna.
Oh, there's a hill named Tuna, and there's a girdle of Melion.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he was one of the guys that stayed back and was looking for his brother when he was in his love bubble.
Oh.
Yeah, so he stayed on Middle Earth.
Elmo did?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So, they're second cousins.
anyways,
It's all good.
they're
It's all
second
good.
cousins. It's okay. It's okay. I just needed to know how they were related. So, Galadriel is chilling in Doriath with her new man, Celeborn. Finrod Felagund is chilling in his new digs in Nargothrond. Now, we're going back to Turgon. Remember, Turgon and Finrod were on that little camping trip together.
Uh-huh.
Um,
And they had bad dreams.
they had bad dreams, and they were both in the real estate. They were both looking for real estate.
They have
He
a
didn't have an
realtor. It's
awesome.
a
He didn't.
dwarf.
He didn't have a realtor like Finrod did. Thingol the
I was gonna
realtor.
say it's a dwarf or an orc.
I got a cave over here, and I got this nice 2-acre plot. It
But
is
it only
bordering
has two
on
bathrooms.
Angband, so the noise quality does get a little loud,
Yeah.
and the
I
neighbors
can't say
are
I don't.
rude.
The schools. I'm not sure what the school district is. But I gotta say it only has two bathrooms. I think that you could do better. I think we could find a better spot.
Well, he actually was looking for something. He had something in mind that he wanted. He did not want a cave
He had
like
a
everyone
Pinterest
else.
board.
He
He had a
had a
Pinterest
Pinterest
board
board.
of what he wanted.
Exactly. And what was on his Pinterest board was the Tower City of Tyrion that was back in Valinor. Now, how does one build a tower city in this kind of area? It's a mystery, but he couldn't quite seem to find it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, he's like the one that wants like a mansion on like a $100,000 budget. Like,
Yeah.
sir, I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Ooh, don't think that's gonna
So
work, bro.
a year passes, and he just goes through realtor after realtor. Just no one can help him. And that's when
Ooh.
Olmo takes a realtor class and certifies himself. And he, you know what? I'll find it for you. I'll find your diamond in the rough. So Olmo actually appears to Turgon when he was by the sea one day, and he leads him to a hidden area near some mountains, in the middle of which was a hill of stones.
Mm.
Like, that's everything I wanted. But
Oh my
shh.
gosh.
It's very important that you know this is all a secret. Don't tell anyone. Keep
Oh.
it secret. Keep it safe.
Olmo saying this to him?
Turgon wants to keep it a secret.
Oh.
Yeah. And, quote, there began in his secret councils to devise the plan of a city after the manner of Tyrion upon Tuna, for which his heart yearned in exile.
Well, yeah. It's like those
Just
people who
like
move
old
to
times.
yeah, who move to a different country, but then they build their home to look like what their house
Yeah.
looked like in the other country. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So just know that that's going on in the background. He's got plans, but they're secret.
Their secret plans.
So while everyone is settling and working on their homes, they're building their plans, they're working with their realtor, they're going through the mountains of paperwork you have to sign when you buy a new home. I have never felt like my signature looked uglier. I
I know. After you have to sign it like 45 times in a row.
know. So you were wondering, what has Morgoth been up to?
He's just twiddling his thumbs, watching. He's like, let them build their pretty little houses and I'm gonna go knock them down.
That is a very Morgoth move. He had been spying on the Noldor and had seen that, while they were busy, with their closing and with their paint swatches, and, you know, they're not exactly, on high alert right now. Their guards are kind of down. So
Uh-huh.
maybe this is a good time to strike.
Of course.
Of course. But this time, he plays things a little differently. He doesn't strike
Mm,
with his armies first. This time,
okay.
he strikes with the earth itself.
Uh, he can do that?
And suddenly, there were earthquakes in the north, and fire came from fissures in the earth, and the iron mountains vomited flame.
Whoa.
So I feel like
I can
something really could have happened here, but that's actually the last you hear of that. Like, I don't know why. Like I felt like you could have just killed everyone, but okay, cool. And then the orcs attack, and the earthquakes and fissures and lava don't come up again. Like
mm,
apparently they maybe the timing wasn't right. Like the timer
maybe
was
they're like,
supposed to go off at 5, but then they walked by at 6, and it wasn't right.
you threw off my groove.
But when the orcs do attack, luckily Fingolfin and Maedhros were ready. And they defeated the orcs and actually managed to push them back almost to the gates of Angband. And this battle would be known as the Third Great Battle of the Wars of Beleriand. And it has a super cool name. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
The Glorious Battle. That's all.
Do you
But,
think it was glorious?
maybe. I mean,
Maybe. The word
so
the jury's still out on that one.
I know. I feel like you could have done a little better there, but whatever. Although they managed to win, this attack was a reminder that they just, okay, you know what? We need to, can't let our guard down. Always be vigilant. And
Yeah.
after this, they decide, you know what? Let's gather up our armies, strengthen our numbers, set a watch, and then they decide to go on the offensive and set a siege of Angband.
Mm.
Unfortunately, this siege would last, and I don't know why this makes me laugh so much. Quote, well nigh 400 years of the sun. I don't know, well nigh just belongs to the South. I don't know why they have that term. It is their word. I can't, well nigh 400 years.
Dadgum,
No.
dadgum.
So this siege lasts 400 years. And
What?
yeah, because this was
What?
after the glorious battle, the servants of Morgoth were actually afraid of the Noldor and just hid behind the gates.
You can't come in here. We locked the door. You're not allowed. The
Quote,
sign
and
says.
Quote, and Fingolfin boasted that save by treason among themselves, Morgoth could never again burst from the leaguer, which I had to look up that word. Leaguer means army. So could never burst again from the army of the Eldar, nor come upon them at unawares. Like basically, unless we are like vulnerable with some kind of internal treasonous feud, kind of like they were when they were at the lake and they were like separated,
Uh-huh.
Morgoth is never going to come out, and our army is set so well that he can't take us by surprise.
Oh.
So we're
A
kind of
little
at a
sure of
stalemate.
himself, a little full of himself there, but okay.
Yeah. So during this well nigh 400-year battle,
Dang,
the
that's such a
Noldor,
long battle.
I know, the Noldor couldn't seem to make any advancement. The orcs were too scared to come out and fight them, or Morgoth was too smart to come out and fight them. And so they just hid behind the gates. And
You can't go past here. Dad said so. You can't go
unfortunately, they
in.
couldn't even fully surround it because it was basically kind of, I think of like Helm's Deep. So it's like
Mm,
in a corner with mountains behind them, the
mm.
Thangorodrim scary mountains. And then the Iron Mountains were behind that. So they were just, and which had lots of snow and ice. Somehow the Noldor weren't able to cross that, but they can cross the Hellcarax, but not these mountains,
Scary,
apparently.
scary gates.
Yeah. And somehow, though, the orcs were able to sneak out through this mountain range.
Of course.
Yeah. And this is when Morgoth would go back to his favorite old pastime of kidnapping elves.
Bring out
It's
the
his
elf nets.
favorite.
Bring out my trusty old elf net. I'm gonna go get some elves.
Okay, what would be an elf? Okay, like similar to like candy in the creepy van. What would be the candy?
Conditioner. Uh, um, some more flowy robes.
Right.
Um, hmm. Oh, sorry if you hear my kid screaming upstairs.
Is that
I'm sorry if you can hear
Oakley?
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Do you need to
No,
go?
it's okay.
Okay.
He's
And
not in
we
pain or anything. He's just like
okay.
suddenly just started screaming. Is that what it sounded like when they got across the ocean?
So,
And it's just a screaming noise. I'm living it. I'm living it.
like, sir, I have her scheduled till 12. You're gonna have to come back at
Yeah.
another time. So, Morgoth goes back to his old pastime of kidnapping elves. Quote, and desiring above all to sow fear and disunion among the Eldar, he commanded the orcs to take alive any of them that they could bring and bring them bound to Angband. And some he so daunted by the terror of his eyes that they needed no chains more, but walked ever in fear of him, doing his will wherever they might be. Thus Morgoth learned much of all that had befallen since the rebellion of Fëanor, and he rejoiced, seeing therein the seed of many dissensions among his foes.
Whoa. So they just he's talking about the elves being so scared that they didn't even need like to really capture them or that the
Yeah,
orcs were so okay.
the elves.
Okay,
So
so
I.
in my brain,
Mhm.
Morgoth is sitting up in his little castle and he's real bored. He got shut up in his castle and he's like, "Ah, nothing's going my way. They have a son now and like we can't go outside." And they're like being all mean with their swords and stuff and he's all pouting and he's like that for a few days and then one of his little orc friends comes up and he's like, "Do you know what would make you happy? I think I know what would make you happy." He's like, "No, no, I don't want." He's like, "I think I know." He's like, "No, I don't want to do that." And he's like, "What about this?" And he gives him his net. And he's like, "You want to go catch some elves?" I know it'll make you happy. He's like, no, okay. You know that's my favorite.
You know me too well.
Oh, Peter,
Uh,
you're my favorite orc. You know me so well.
oh, Peter the orc always knows what to do to get his boss all fired up again.
Yeah.
So, man, this idea, it's so terrifying that these elves that he has kidnapped, probably tortured so much, they are so terrified of him that he would just set them loose. But even free, they did his bidding because of their fear. And this
Mm,
totally, I'm not sure, I don't remember how far you made it into Game of Thrones, but
yeah.
um Ramsay Snow slash Bolton, depending on where we are in the show, tortures Theon. And it gets to this point, like where he has the chance to escape and he is too terrified to. Like he
Mm,
just has been mind manipulated, mind, yeah. That
yeah.
kind of psychological torture is
That's
just
scary.
terrifying.
Yeah.
And yeah. So, but he's using it to his advantage. He's like, you know what? Tell me all your secrets. Tell me what's been going on. And then he's like, my plan with Fiona worked perfectly.
That's Morgoth's new voice.
Yes. Apparently, after his scream, it just kind of stayed in that falsetto.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
about 100 years into this siege of Angband, Morgoth decides to try and surprise attack Fingolfin. Apparently, Morgoth thought that Maedhros was particularly vigilant and would be hard to surprise, so he goes for Fingolfin.
Mm. Surprise
So
attack!
he tries. So he tries to attack Lake Mithrim, where Fingolfin and most people are settled. But instead of attacking from Angband in the east, he sends an army all the way around to the north to try and attack from the west.
Mm.
However, because of their awesome, spies and scouting parties and perimeter watches, Fingon actually came upon them, completely wiped out this army. And because of the size of the orc army, the size of Fingon's army for this battle, it doesn't get a cool name, which I find rude.
Oh man, they couldn't
But
come up with another name as cool as what was the other one?
the
Yep,
glorious battle.
the Glorious Battle. Really, they couldn't think of anything else.
Nope. So I'm going to call this battle the mini battle. Um, but it still was significant, even though it was mini tiny, because it managed to provide peace. For a while. He just like try again, Morgoth. That didn't work.
Yeah,
But this is Fingon, our with his bestie Maedhros. Like Fingon is our man. He's got a plan. Go
he's our
Fingon,
man with the plan.
man with a plan. So Morgoth is forced to go back to the drawing board. Clearly his orcs are no match for the Noldor by themselves. Like these minions, they need a good leader. They need someone in charge of them, or maybe not a leader. Huh. He's like drawing stuff on the drawing. No, erases it. Tries this. No. So another 100 years go by, and this is when Morgoth creates the very first dragon.
What? That was not what I think you were gonna say.
I know. Okay, so
What?
this is why I was kind of like teeing to myself because Maleficent's a dragon.
Oh, it works.
It's Maleficent. But in this
Wow, a
book, I
dragon?
guess
I didn't know he
she
made
has.
dragons. For some reason, I thought
Yep.
like they were. I mean, are they all inherently evil dragons? Like,
Yes.
okay, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. Pretty much. Um. So in this book, I mean, her name's obviously Maleficent, but in this book, her name is uh, because he's a he now too. I don't know how that happened. Um, Glaurung, and this is
Gla.
the first Glaurung,
Oh,
Glaurung,
okay.
Glau, so Glaurung,
Okay.
and they the dragons, of course, yeah, they have their own names, are known as the Urulokai.
Huh.
When I
Okay.
first read that word, I'm like, wait, the Urukai are here already? No, Urulokai.
Maybe
And
that
these
means
are,
they're related in terms of like that just means a bad thing,
yeah,
like the terrible or something.
Glaurung, the first of the Urulokai, the fire drakes of the north, issues from Angband's gates by night. He was yet young and scarce half grown, for long and slow is the life of the dragons. But the elves fled before him in dismay.
Well,
What the
yeah.
heck is that?
Yeah. They're like being all confident. They're like, "Yeah, we're gonna win! Oh my gosh, what?"
But like, what's funny is, oh my gosh, I just had this amazing scene. So it's young and half grown. Like, it doesn't say how half grown that is. So, like, it very well could be like the scene with the bunny rabbit from Monty
Oh,
Python.
yeah.
Oh,
Run
it's so
away!
cute.
Aw,
Oh no!
what is that? Yeah. It like bites someone's arm off. Oh my gosh.
So, dragons are now in the picture. And
Mm,
our heroic Fingon rides against this dragon, and with archers on horseback, they manage to surround it. And unfortunately, Glaurung, he's not fully developed. You know, most of dragons have the kind of scales of like armor, basically. He doesn't have
mhm.
those yet, so he flees back to Angband.
He's just a baby.
He's just a baby. Quote, and Fingon won great praise, and the Noldor rejoiced, for few foresaw the full meaning and threat of this new thing. Like, okay, guys, we won this time, but if Morgoth was able to create that terrifying thing, what else could he do?
Yeah. Ah.
Luckily for the Noldor, though, Morgoth was actually pretty pissed at this situation. He was mad at his new baby dragon for revealing himself too soon. Like, what else was he supposed to do? He's just a baby.
He's just a baby.
So he stays in Angband and pouts for the next 200 years, giving the Noldor a nice, peaceful time.
Just because his
But,
dog got out?
yeah. So during this nice, peaceful time, the Noldor were able to focus on building their new homes and their cities, and they were able to write poems and histories and books of lore. This is kind of, I think it's uh, like the Renaissance. Is that the term? Or
Yeah.
the golden era
Uh-huh.
age or something?
Mhm.
Where they're just able to focus on the arts and
Yeah.
their lives. And throughout this, the Noldor and the Sindar actually grow to be good friends. Quote, the Noldor had the greater power of mind and body, and were the mightier warriors and sages. And they built with stone and loved the hill slopes and open lands. But the Sindar had the fairer voices and were more skilled in music, save only Maglor, son of Fëanor. And they loved the woods and the riversides, and some of the gray elves still wandered far and wide without settled abode, and they sang as they went.
Aw.
Like,
Wait, why
that's
did they have to call
definitely
Mandros out like that? Like, they, like why did they single him out? Like
Maglor.
or Magmore, when
Yeah.
they're like
We haven't really met him yet, but
I know, but I was like,
he's like,
"Everybody was such beautiful musicians except for that guy."
no, they're saying that the Sindar had the better voices out of the Noldor, but this Maglor, son of Fëanor, is of the Noldor. So he had the best voice out of
Oh, I thought
everyone.
they were saying, like, "Everybody was
No.
great except for that guy. He sucked."
We don't talk about him. We think his mom mated with a troll.
Oh, yeah.
um, so, I totally feel like these are the elves that were in the woods, with their like I'm sorry, I did not really love those parts of the books where they're like the elves that are like hiding in the woods as the fellowship. I think the fellowship did it too, but also the dwarves with Bilbo when they're like as they're like trolling along the forest, they're like Bilbo has blue pants, la 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 la, like
Yeah. It's like
that whole part like wasn't my favorite part in the world, but these
yeah,
were totally the elves that did that.
yeah.
And that's
They
actually
weren't they didn't leave on their own accord. They were sent away because people were like, "Okay, we've had enough of this singing. Please leave."
yes.
Like,
Yeah. You do that somewhere else where I can't hear
yeah.
you.
"How
So
about you take your show on the road?"
so that's actually where I'm going to leave you today.
Oh, now I wanna sing for everything that I do now
I know.
and be one of those traveling singing elves.
Yeah. But, I'm trying to remember the songs that they did. They were actually kind of mean. They were like teasing and like heckling the dwarves and Bilbo, I think, if I
I
remember
mean, they
right.
were dwarves and hobbits,
Yeah,
so
that's true.
they had to be mean by some reason of
Right.
or orves, dwarves and elves.
Oh, we'll find that out later.
Um,
Why did they hate each other so much? You'll find out.
yeah.
All
Well,
right.
thank you for teaching me today.
You're welcome. Do you have an elf word for us today?
Let's see. What is our elven word for today? Our elven word for today is um let's look up the word for
Spatula.
let's oops, hold on. Let's look up the word.
Acetaminophen.
Yeah. Did I tell you that one of my professors pronounced that acetaminophen? Which I'm like, what?
What?
I
I've heard
know.
of acetaminophen, but I'm not even sure
Acetaminophen.
that's okay.
I know. Wait, hold
Maybe.
on. Let's see if they have a word for this. What was the dragon's name?
Uh oh, the word urulokai, maybe
For no, his
uru
name.
glarung,
Gla Glawrong
rung, like I rung a bell.
Rung. Okay.
Elaurung.
Okay. So, um I guess the elvish word for dragon is ulug, ulug, ulug,
Ulug.
ulug.
Hmm?
Or they have different things because they have like a snake or a winged dragon or a fire dragon, stuff like that.
What do you think? I want to hear Oakley's word for
Oakley, how do you say dragon in Elvish? Say
that.
it. Oh, did you hear it?
I did. I'm way on board. Yes.
He's very like,
Apparently,
it was like parcel tongue.
apparently, Glaurung just means golden cloud because he was like a gold color.
Mm.
What else you got, Oakley?
Oh,
Oh, whoa!
you can edit that part out.
What's he
um.
doing?
Oh, he was mad that I took him off the desk where I was.
Oh,
Elvish word. Well, I was gonna look for Elvish word for jewel, like the
oh,
jewels that they make, or not they make that they have, because like what the dwarves gave them and stuff. And so I was trying to look for that. Oh, that's right. It's a treasure or a beautiful, precious thing, but it's not necessarily just a gem or jewel. It's like something that's beautiful to them, like a treasure, like anything that they consider high quality is called a mire.
Why does
Mire.
that sound familiar? Mire.
Mire. Mire.
Mire. That's pretty. I like that.
Yeah. So you can call like your child that.
Ni mire.
Yeah.
That sounds
I
more
think that's
Spanish, but
I know it does.
I'm going
But
with it.
it's cute. A
I
precious
like it.
thing or treasure.
Hmm.
So you Mire. Mire. Mire.
Mire.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
thank you for teaching me today.
you're welcome. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Sisters of the Shire podcast. Make sure
Yeah.
to rate and review on all the platforms, please, please, please.
Yes. That'd be so nice
Even
of
just a
you.
rating. I'll take a rating. I mean, nothing below 5 stars, but
Yeah.
exactly, Oakley. Yes, I agree wholeheartedly.
I know. Okay,
Oh, that
okay,
was just rude.
yeah.
It's a bad word,
Okay,
Oakley.
can we say bye friends? Thank you for joining us today. Oh, he's waving. He's waving.
Aww.
Yeah. Can we say thank you for joining us today, friends? We're
And we'll
happy
see
you're
you next
here.
week.
And we'll see you next time. Say bye. He's just waving.
Okay. Well, I've been Ashley.
And I'm Abby, and our little sidekick Oakley for this episode.
Yeah.
Yay! Thank you for joining us. We hope you have a great week. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.